grief is not just an emotion. In fact, it's not even just one emotion. It's a sacred, profound journey of loss, of adjustment, a way of adapting that touches every single one of us at some point or multiple points in our lives. In our fast-paced, productivity-driven society, we often struggle to give grief the time and space that it really deserves. We avoid uncomfortable emotions, quickly move on, or expect other people to do the same. Why do we fail as a society to honor the necessary process of mourning loss? Why do we shy away from acknowledging the rawness and depth and complexities of grief? I get a little emotional in this episode. So let's hold a little bit of space together and explore grief together. Ooh, baby, let's get into it. Time for another Radiant Soul Deep Dive here on Connected in the Den. Okay, so look, we cannot be classy all of the time. It's exhausting. In this episode of Connected in the Den, we do have some adult language. So if you have little ones around, you might want to grab your headphones. So I am currently working through some fresh emotions of grief as I journey through the loss of my furry feline baby, Selah. Her physical feline life came to an end 5 days ago, 7/7 at 12:07. As I've been processing my feelings of loss, naturally it blossomed into me sharing my experience through this podcast. Sharing is just what I do. I know how important it is to feel seen and validated and understood in this life, to be held in support. And we can't experience that support without sharing our experiences. Sharing life and spiritual experiences is what helps us grow and evolve as a collective. So, I wanted to share some of my experiences this week, what I've been journeying through, what I've been reflecting on, just some general insights, as well as like tools and stuff to help navigate through grief. This is part of what I do for a living as a psychic medium, is hold space for those on their grief journey. Now, when I mean grief, I mean all grief, all loss. I think as a society, we really suck at understanding what grief is and at allowing space for that powerful experience to take place. I think many of us try to rush through the emotions of loss or suppress them and disconnect from them. And that not only causes a lot of harm for us as a human species, but also in each of us on an individual level. It harms us in showing up as our full authentic selves. And I'll dig into why that harms us a little later. We have been, and it feels like we currently are in the thick of a powerful place of challenging societal norms that undermine our ability to heal authentically, to heal emotionally, physically, energetically. As a society, we've been taught and brainwashed to neglect and hide emotions that are difficult and uncomfortable to feel or witness. In terms of harmful, outdated gender roles we have for so long been programmed to exist within, men and women have been taught to hide their raw emotions, like surpassing emotions in the workplace to maintain quote-unquote professionalism, or controlling your anger. How often do you catch yourself apologizing for crying? Like, sorry, I'm going to cry, or I don't want to cry. Like, girl, let it out. Let it out. Did you know our tears are healing? Crying triggers the release of oxytocin and other hormones that promote bonding and social attachment. These hormonal changes can enhance feelings of connection and security. So crying literally makes you feel safe. Crying is it's a form of nonverbal communication that allows us to express emotions that might be difficult to really articulate verbally, right? It can provide a sense of emotional clarity and self-understanding. So cry, cry, baby. I mean, historically, even men are still often expected to hide emotions like sadness, fear, or vulnerability, as they're seen as signs of weaknesses. And women were taught to always show up happy and poised for their husbands, right? We now know how harmful those dated beliefs are. But think about how those beliefs have impacted us to process our grief. We've basically been taught to just throw some dirt on it and move on. Now, I truly believe that that's part of the reason why globally systems are crumbling, communities are suffering, there's so much conflict. Disconnecting and disassociating from our emotions is killing us as a species. Grief happens with the endings of connections, identities, beliefs. It can be collective loss. It's not just a feeling. It's a multifaceted process that affects us physically, emotionally, spiritually. Loss can be due to death, the end of a relationship, loss of a job, a significant change in health, or other major life transitions. And let me touch on the loss of pets for a moment, because it is common for some people to have the reaction of like, oh, it's just a cat or just a dog or just a bird or a rabbit, etc. Listen, animal companions, caring for animals, that is a whole nother level of soul connection. Pets provide unconditional love, companionship, and loyalty. They are constant, consistent source of love. Their love never wavers. They become really important parts of our daily lives. They offer us comfort, joy, a sense of purpose. They become deeply integrated into our daily routines and our lifestyles, our identities even. Their presence is constant, providing stability, providing us a sense of security. They offer non-judgmental emotional support. They never judge us. They listen without criticism. They offer solace during difficult times, and they celebrate even our happy moments with us. Memories and shared experiences with pets, they really create a unique bond that is so difficult to replicate. Each moment shared with a pet is a cherished moment. Losing a pet is hard because they're not just animals, but beloved members of our families. Their presence and the emotional connections that we form with them really brings deep fulfillment to our lives in really special ways. And they may not be understood by all, but recognizing and honoring the grief over our furry friends is really important for our healing. Now, let me compose myself there. Grief is a full range of emotions, a very broad spectrum, including sadness, anger, guilt, regret, loneliness, confusion, and yearning. It also manifests physically, right? With symptoms like fatigue, changes in appetite, insomnia, aches and pains, and lowered immunity. I know I've been feeling off physically this week, having a difficult time sleeping, especially because there's little, routines and stuff that existed between Selah and I, different times of the night, different times of the morning, and it triggers memories and it triggers these kind of waves of grief. Grief can cause us to have difficulty concentrating, difficulty making decisions or remembering things. Grief is a highly, highly individualized process. Each person's process is unique and sacred and serving your life journey. There's no quote unquote normal timeline for how long it should last or how it should progress. There's no manual to follow. There's no right or wrong way to process your emotions. Our process can be influenced by the nature of the loss, the significance or depth of the attachment, the person's personality and coping style, and the support system that's available. Some people are more expressive in their emotions, others maybe not so much, or maybe prefer more privacy in their process. I'm a little of column A and B. I'm expressive for sure, but I do also prefer privacy, especially in the early stages. I want to be left alone. I want to understand my emotions. I want to process them. I want to witness how I'm feeling. I do allow some open lines for communication with those I feel safe with, and those who really know me know to give me my space. With the process of Selah's physical life ending, my ride or dies, they know. They know I love them so much. I love them so much for their constant understanding and support and for respecting my process, because everyone's process is different, right? And I'm so grateful that they respect mine, but they reached out, like, I'm here for you, whatever you need. I love you. Selah was amazing. You're a great fur mama. And then key, they say, when you're ready to talk, I'm here. And that's it. They may check in here or there, but they don't send me anything else. Like, I love you and I want you to live your best life. And I love to celebrate your life successes and, but when I'm in my, especially the raw initial stages of grief, I don't want any life updates from anyone else. That's just me. I don't want any memes. I just want space. I just need space for me to be. My inner circle knows when I'm actively in my grief, I do not have the emotional bandwidth to receive any information. I don't have the energy to process anything else other than what I need to process in my life at that moment. And again, this is just my process. If you perhaps are struggling with your process, or maybe you're witnessing someone else go through some grief of their own right now, I hope that you can receive some of these insights to support you. First and foremost, give yourself permission to grieve. Give yourself permission to feel. Give yourself permission for it to get messy if it needs to. Soften into that state of being. Surrender to the emotions. Allow them to teach you. Our emotions teach us. Give yourself permission to really be present with the loss, to really witness your emotions without judgment. Witness your body's natural responses. Allow yourself to cry. Allow yourself to scream, rage out. We cannot process without giving ourselves permission to do so. Really allow your grief to be seen, to take shape, and understand the current shape that it's taking, knowing that the shape will change. Allow yourself to get curious with your emotions, acknowledge them, name them. An emotional wheel might be helpful in this process to really explore the layers of your emotions, connect with your emotions. This is how we process grief. This is how we move through our emotions from loss in an empowered way. Support your grieving process by leaning on the aid of a therapist or a coach, a trusted family member or friend. Help those emotions move by expressing them. And if you're not in the mood to talk about them with anyone else, write about them, sing about them, paint and draw about them, garden, redecorate, cook, make playlists, and move your body. Go for a run, a swim, a brisk walk, yoga flows. Allow your emotions to have a physical channel, a physical way of processing. Channeling our emotions in physical ways is what our body needs. Our bodies are designed to support us, to serve our ability to function. And unprocessed grief will manifest in the body. It will manifest in physical ways within our body. Emotions are energy, and our bodies store unprocessed energy. Grief specifically is stored in the chest area. So think about the lungs, like the health of your lungs, your heart health, the health of the tissues and muscles and bones in our chest, our shoulders and arms, and our upper back. Unprocessed emotions can manifest in our skin and can cause flare-ups like acne, rosacea, eczema, and psoriasis. It can affect our gastrointestinal system. So unprocessed emotions can lead to symptoms like stomach pain, IBS, overeating, or loss of appetite, digestive discomfort. Unprocessed emotions affect our sexual organs, our nervous system, can cause cardiovascular issues like high blood pressure. In addition to our physical and mental health, when we suppress our emotions, we are showing up inauthentically in life. We're not functioning to our fullest potential with all those suppressed emotions within us, right? Like, that suppressed energy has us behaving in accordance to those suppressed emotions. And not only for ourselves, but the collective. We do ourselves and the collective a huge disservice by not processing our emotions, specifically the losses in our life. Loss is not something to get over. The goal is not to not feel sad or not feel anger or guilt. It's that we allow ourselves to mindfully process our loss, to give space to those emotions. The intensity of those emotions will shift, but we don't get over our grief. We grow through it. We evolve through it. And now let me say this, it's natural for our initial response to loss to just numb out, right? Grief does trigger our fight, flight, or freeze response. The numbing phase is natural in those first stages of grief, the first days or first months of grief. I sort of personally, I sent out an alert like, look, my beloved Selah passed away. I'm going to be offline, but I'm okay, just so that I could enter into my cave of darkness and just cry and just watch my shows and movies to not keep my mind so focused. I leaned into comfort foods and heaps of cannabis, but cautious and mindful from being in the numbing response to totally disassociating, right? Like, I'm like, okay, let me be in my cave for a few days. I emerged like 3 days after her passing for some sunshine, but I'm still laying low. I'm still doing what I need to do to process in these early stages. I'm not in the mood to socialize. I'm not in the mood to be on social media. I want to be in my feels and just in my space and just go through everything, process everything, understand everything. And Selah's passing was also this kind of anticipatory grief. Like I was anticipating it. Like she had been sick for over a year. She was diagnosed with kidney disease and she had a suppressed immune system. So her death, it's really been pending this whole year. It's been a tough year, but it's been pending. I've sort of been able to plan for the aftermath. I guess you could call it that, the aftermath of her death. And I am grateful for that, because with past deaths I've had to navigate, they were unexpected in family and friends and pets. And that kind of grief flips you right upside down, right? Like the freaking rug is pulled from under you. And I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm not saying that it was any less of an impact being prepared. But I did have time to prepare in a way. So for those who are in that same space, anticipating the loss of something or someone, I will say, don't allow the grief in the pending process to rob you from being present with your loved ones. I really made sure, especially in the later months of her life, she had a kind of a big scare in the wintertime. So since then, I was really able to be really present with Selah. Normally, I'd leave here and there for weekend getaways or trips. But since the scare in the winter, I put off some of those experiences that I enjoyed doing so that I could be more present as a pet parent for her. She hated being alone or in the care of anyone else or not being in her own home. So I made sure to really give her her best life and the best care I could this past year. It gave me the opportunity to prepare. Even though it's still impacting me, I have been preparing for it. And then on top of that, in addition to the anticipation of Selah's loss, I'm going through a big move in my life. Like, I'm moving countries. That I've been preparing for some months now. And while, yes, it is a major, exciting new chapter that I'm beginning, it's also a huge loss that I'm going through. My island life, my island family, even how I show up for work in life, all of that is about to majorly change. And I'll be asked in readings, or one-on-one mentoring sessions, is it normal to still feel sad? Let's say months or years later. And again, abso-freaking-lutely. We never get over loss. We grow through it. The shapes of our grief change. The shapes of our loss change. They don't necessarily shrink. It just takes on a different shape, So find your supportive network of family, friends, or professionals to support you. Engage in healthy coping strategies like talking about the loss, seeking counseling, journaling, in rituals or activities that honor the loss. If you can, when it feels right, celebrate and show gratitude for your sadness over the loss. Sadness shows us the value in the connections that we share and shows us how present we can be, how present we freaking can be with the things and connections that we value in this life. Grief is a powerful state of being as it helps us to build our emotional awareness. It allows us to show up in more empowered, supportive, and loving ways for ourselves and others. If you're seeking aid in your grief process, I have some very helpful meditations on my YouTube channel that you might find supportive. Also, Reiki balancing can be helpful, or one-on-one spiritual mentoring. Both services I offer. You can find all of the links in the show notes or on thewanderinglioness.com. I just want to take the opportunity to thank everyone for sending such loving, kind messages as I journey through my current grief process. And if you're listening and you're riding the unpredictable waves of grief, they can be freaking annoying. Please remember that it is okay to feel overwhelmed. Ride the highs and lows of your emotions. If you're journeying through the physical loss of someone or an animal, know that while their physical body ceases to exist, their soul, their spirit, their essence is with you always. Whenever you want to connect with them, lovingly think of them, welcome their spirit close. They are always near, always with us. And you absolutely do not have to navigate this alone. Take your time. Take all the time you need to heal. And I send you my heartfelt sympathy and understanding and love to you on your grief journey. A short and sweet episode today. I hope you all enjoyed it, gained some insight, tools to reflect, and I really look forward to connecting again soon. You are a gem for making it all the way through. If you enjoyed what you heard, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast wherever you are streaming this episode. Your support means more than you know. Sharing these chats with your friends and family helps us reach more fabulous listeners like you. Don't forget to follow us on social media at The Wandering Lioness for updates and exclusive content. Together we can continue to inspire and be more fabulous. My friend, be curious, be inspired, and be blessed. I'm Christiane. This is Connected in the Den.